rewriting Star Wars next on Retro Serial. Hey everyone, welcome to Retro Serial. I'm your host, DNC. Glad you can be joining me for today's program. On today's program, we have recurring guest, my friend Jason. Now, before we get into the program, we're going to get into it super quickly, but I just want to let you know that originally our concept was to sit around and talk about Star Wars. However, it slowly and then rapidly kind of evolved into if we could rewrite Star Wars or things that we would change about Star Wars, hence the name. I wanted to let you know that at the very beginning because it kind of takes us a little while to get into that issue, but it does happen. So we're going to get straight into that. Just before we do, go ahead and do me the favor of hitting that thumbs up button. If I've earned your subscribe, I would love to have you subscribe to my channel. Also share this on your favorite social media. Hit the bell notification if you don't want to miss an episode. And if you're feeling generous, you can donate to the Patreon page or the Buy Me a Coffee page. Currently, right now on the Patreon page, I do have one tier and it's just a tip jar. But I am going to be adding new tiers shortly. And which you're going to be getting early releases and doing it like a once a month kind of chat with me, things like that. So head on over to Patreon right now. Like I said, it's just a tip jar, just to say, hey, thanks, we like what you're doing over on Retro Serial. It would mean the world to me if you did. But the most important thing is hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up button. All right, with all that said, let's get to today's program. Retro Serial, I'm here actually in Quasi Studio with my friend Jason. He's been on the program a couple times. We talked about underground music.
Yes, we did.
And then we talked about Star Wars toys.
We did.
And other sci-fi toys, which was a really good episode. If you haven't seen that episode, check it out. And the first thing we actually ever talked about was Star Wars, the show, the movies, but we lost it.
Okay.
And that was a long time ago, and my fear was that...
Yeah, I worked my butt off on that one.
I think it's something we could talk about pretty naturally.
Yeah, I think so.
But there were so many things that we said in that episode that I was afraid if I recorded it again too soon that I know, at least in my mind, I would have tried to recreate the program rather than just having a natural conversation about it.
Right.
So... it's been a while, and I did a solo episode on Star Wars, just talking about my personal thoughts on it. I'm sure some of that's going to be repeated here, but it's always good to have another opinion. And I just want to start out with it. So, I mean, let's start here. We're going to be talking about the original series now. We're not going to be talking about 1, 2, and 3. We're not going to be talking about the spinoffs, unless it kind of goes that way. But we're going to focus in more on 4, 5, and 6. A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. Those 3. Okay.
Okay. So I've got one question.
Okay, sure.
Is that a naked Luke Skywalker sitting behind me?
That is a naked Luke Skywalker.
Oh my gosh.
I brought in some stuff just to give it a little bit more ambience than that we normally have. I've got a video on the king size Luke Skywalker where I explain why he's.
You must have been
there.
through a lot of Jedi fights, you know.
Yeah. What I actually did is in the 80s, I was into a ninja craze, and I had my grandmother make a ninja outfit for him.
Gotcha.
And I lost the original outfit, what I just am kicking myself in the butt for, because I'm sure it'd be worth a pretty penny if it
had the original.
If it had all the original
Tarzan,
stuff.
right?
Yeah. Oh well. All right. Okay. So I always like to start with basically like, how old were you when the first one came out?
What year was that?
77.
77. So I was 7, 8 years old.
Okay. Yeah, I was 4 when it came out. Now, obviously, you didn't have a home VHS player.
No. We stood in line.
You stood in line.
Wrapped all the way around the building in Orange, California, at the City Theaters. It was a mall called the City, and they had a big theater there, and yeah, it was 2 wraps around the building.
Okay,
to get in.
And what did you think when you first saw? What kind of impact did it have?
Oh well, shoot, man! I mean, that was the shizzle, man. You know, that was it.
Yeah.
You know, Star Wars. That was, and from then, it was just a craze. You know?
Yeah.
And then when they started introducing, not to bring up the toys, but nevertheless, when they started bringing out the action figures. Oh, then
I was all over it.
yeah, sky's the limit.
Well, I mean, I just remember sitting in the theater, and I was 4, so I didn't, I mean, you don't know nothing from home down when you're 4.
You're just getting the effects and the noise.
Well, I mean, I do remember it had an effect on me, but I didn't know what we were going to go see.
Right.
Everyone's like, oh, we're going to go. They could have told me we're going to go see Gum Gum. I had no idea what it was.
Right,
I just knew everybody was excited about it. I think probably at 8 or 8.
I was 7, 8 years old.
That it probably would have a little bit more impact on you.
I mean, that we had never seen a movie like that with those kind of special effects, really.
Yeah. Well, I remember being captivated by it immediately at 4. With the ship coming over you, the at the very beginning, the scroll coming down, and having my mother read the scroll to me. The crawl, not the scroll, the crawl.
Oh, right? It was
a crawl. I think that's a technical name.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, it's a crawl. So, walk us through So you see the movie, you see Star Wars.
See the movie, and
what is it you like about it? You don't like about it?
Well, at the time, at 7, 8 years old, I mean, there was nothing to dislike, for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a very impactful movie. I mean, it changed going to the movies.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was 4 years old, my one of my aunt by marriage, I guess it would be, took me to see Fiddler on the Roof. I'll tell you what, I was bored out of my ever-loving mind, But it was a nice gesture, Or seeing Mary Poppins or something like that as a kid. But but then seeing something like Star Wars, it captivated the imagination for sure.
I remember seeing Mary Poppins in the theater, and
or the jump off a cliff.
Somebody took me to see it, and it was a little later. It was actually when Empire Strikes Back came out that I saw Mary Poppins. But I remember thinking I'd rather be watching Empire Strikes Back.
It was that. That was brought me to tears seeing those movies. But Star Wars came out. Another impactful movie. I know we're not going this direction, but my mother and my stepfather, they never could find a babysitter, so they'd take me to movies that I probably shouldn't see. So when I was 6, I saw Jaws.
Oh.
Okay, that terrified me.
Yeah.
So I couldn't put the stopper in the bathtub till I was 10 years old. I mean,
really?
Oh, yeah.
You were worried about Jaws getting into
my imagination just started running.
Yeah, I know how that is.
Yeah. But no, Star Wars was a great movie.
And, Star Wars changed things because one of the things that was going on as Star Wars was coming out is kind of this dirty, gritty action shows where the good guys weren't clearly defined. You had things like Death Wish and some existential kind of movies that were coming out, like Don't They Shoot Horses, Don't They? And things like that were kind of coming out. And Star Wars made kind of not just a cinematic impact, but also a little bit of a moral impact where you had good and evil kind of clearly defined.
Yeah, sure.
And anyway, I thought that was interesting. The other thing that made it impactful was, as you were saying, the special effects.
Yes.
We had not seen special effects like that before.
No, not quite. Early on, Star Trek had some certain scenes that may have been on the closer side of stuff, but the not like Star Wars though.
No. As a matter of fact, he came up with industrial lights and magic to make Star Wars.
Right.
That was a kind of thing. So, who was your favorite character in Star Wars?
Oh shoot, man. Princess Leia, man, she was a babe, dude. No, I'm just kidding. No, try to think here. Favorite Star Wars?
I would, if you don't mind me saying it, I think that you would probably identify with Han Solo more. I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong, but I mean, I just kind of picture you, just knowing you over the years. I picture you more of it as a Han Solo type of character. But maybe you don't like Han Solo as much.
No. It wasn't that. It was probably just because of the military aspect of it, the stormtroopers.
Oh.
Yeah, as far as and Darth Vader. So
really?
Yeah, it's on the bad guy side. But not but when you watch the movie, you're for the good guys, but as far bad guys in real life, excuse me. Bad guys in real life, they always have the sharp uniforms.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
So, but the stormtroopers were cool. I like the Sand People a lot.
Yeah, the sand people were
Yeah, I
interesting.
always wondered what they looked like underneath all that wrapping and those tubes things they had for their eyes and everything.
We still don't know.
We still don't know. Yeah.
So as a kid, though, did you like Jawas or no?
Well, sand people better than the Jawas.
Well, I know sand people, but did you get mad that there were Jawas in it? Did that irk you?
No, not at 8 years old.
Yeah, at 4 years old, I didn't get upset that there were Jawas in it. But
now, when I got older, this is jumping
that's
ahead.
what I was going to ask.
Yeah, then the Ewoks came along. I thought that was ridiculous.
Well, let's save the Ewoks when we get to Return of the Jedi. Okay. We're going to talk about that here in a bit. But I do want to know, as you got older, though, and like now when you rewatch Star Wars, do the Jawas bother you at all?
No. I mean, it was part of the movie. You know?
Yeah. They don't bother me either. I know that there are some people who are critics that kind of get upset about Jawas. I kind of think you see the beginning of the evolution of what later becomes Jar Jar Binks in the Jawas. That's the seed of what later becomes Ewoks and then Jar Jar Binks.
He was obnoxious.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. That's kind. I don't know. I think it kind of. The seed of that's there, and then you kind of develop that later. But he was into kind of mystical, kind of cutie characters from the very beginning. And unfortunately, that kind of blossomed and ruined the franchise for me personally.
Well, you got to understand, he didn't want it to be too dark and too, lack of a better term, adult. Mm-hmm. He wanted the kids to have characters that they could relate to or weren't overly scary or whatever you want to say about that. But I could tell, he was pandering to the kids too, because that was going to be, not to mention the toys, but the toys would be
huge,
targeted toward the kids.
Right. The toys were awesome too.
Yeah.
So Star Wars, A New Hope. Obviously, it sets the groundwork. Lucas talked about the fact that he had all 3 episodes basically in one script. Mm-hmm. He couldn't really fit it into all one movie, so he kind of separated out into 3 different. Instead of having it being 3 different acts in one movie, he separated them out into actually 3 different
otherwise
movies.
It would have been a 6-hour movie.
Yeah, well, you introduce the characters, you put the characters in a bad situation, then you resolve the situation. I mean, that's basic storytelling.
Right.
I don't know. What else well, first of all, let me just say, we talked about an introduction to that Star Wars world and the special effects. Mm-hmm. I mean, for number one, it introduced me to 2 things that have impacted my life forever. I mean, and that is the Jedis and the lightsaber. Those are the 2 things that the whole movie impacted me, but that's probably impacted me more than most anything. I mean,
okay.
One of the reasons I do martial arts so avidly has to do with, there's a couple of reasons, but one of the main reasons was I was trying to recreate what I saw Jedis doing, or what I imagined in the first one Jedis doing. So the first one, he's kind of mysterious. He pulls his lightsaber out, chops people up.
Oh, right. The cantina scene.
There's that lightsaber battle, which was pretty cool. And, in my mind, in my 4 to 7-year-old mind, what I was doing out in the backyard with martial arts was trying to recreate what I imagined Jedis being,
Mm-hmm.
imagine them doing. And, of course, it got filled in a little bit more with Empire. But what were some of your favorite special effects? Favorite aspects.
Okay, so as a lightsaber was to you, I like the X-wing, the Y-wing, and proton torpedoes myself.
But really? Yeah, the ships.
Yeah, the more mechanical stuff.
You were into the ships.
Yes. Yeah,
when that first wave of Star Wars toys came out, what did you get?
You know what? I don't remember. It was probably action figures to start off with, mm-hmm. and then they began to introduce the Death Star playset, the Millennium Falcon, and the X-Wing came out. Mm. I don't remember them ever doing. Now maybe later they did, but I always wanted them to do like the size of the X-Wing where you could put the figures in. Mm-hmm. I always wanted them to do the Y-Wing.
Did they not have that?
They did not. Now, I think they do now. Later on, I think they made that toy, but when I was a kid, they never did a Y-Wing.
I don't think I ever remember a Y-Wing either.
Mm-hmm. They did a die-cast Y-Wing.
Yeah.
But not like a full
Not a
size.
full scale.
Yeah, I always wanted the Y-Wing.
Like
I just thought that was the cool looking ship, man.
Yeah, I had the X-Wing fighter. And
so we're going into the toys.
Yeah, a little bit, just a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I had some of those toys. Anything that in retrospect you would have changed about Star Wars?
In retrospect, I can't really think of anything.
Like if you could write Star Wars now, or A New Hope now, and think of that, something you would have changed.
I would have liked to have had a little bit more backstory on the Tusken Raiders, man.
Oh, okay.
The Sand People.
The Sand People.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of mysterious. They're kind of somewhere in between.
Just some, but I'm just, I thought it'd be interesting. Because they did that a lot in the Star Wars universe. You throw in this or that, and then you wonder, where did they come from, or what's the backstory on them?
Yeah.
But
that's what makes sci-fi interesting, or like Lord of the Rings or something like that interesting, is the characters seem real. They seem like they really have a real origin, a real point where you're like,
right.
Where did these people come from, or
what's their history, type of thing. Yeah, but overall, looking at it, I think Lucas did a pretty good job on it.
Yeah, I think so too. And then I think some of the books go into things like that.
They spun off on the books. The books, I think I had Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
That's a valuable one because they went totally in a different direction with the rest of the books than Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's a good one, Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
But as far as no, I mean, it is what it is. It was his movie.
Yeah.
His universe that he created.
Right. Right.
So. No, I really can't think of anything. Now, if we want to start critiquing the later ones or the first, that's different.
But what about the edits that he made to Star Wars? Because you look at Star Wars now, so I've got a VHS copy of Star Wars back there, and even that's a THX where they remastered the sound.
Right.
But that's still as almost as original as you can get. That's before they introduced all the crazy stuff. I think the universe that I just really wish he did not.
Yeah, and we can get into that when we get into Return of the Jedi. Because I saw the latest one of that where they added scenes with CGI and stuff, and there was a lot of stuff.
They added scenes in Star Wars too.
Did they?
Yeah, a lot more on Tatooine.
Yeah.
When the stormtroopers are going through the town, there's a lot more characters in the back and stuff like that.
Yes, you're right.
And
some more close-ups of the dewbacks, those big lizards that the that the stormtroopers would ride. Yeah. I
wish you wouldn't have done that. Leave it alone. Leave it alone, please. But they're going to leave it alone from now on.
At the end, at the Death Star battle scene, they did add some better effects into it because they could. But there's a point where it's like, well, are you trying to make it look like one of today's movies,
right?
Or are you going to leave it as the original,
right? Well, I mean, and then the whole idea too is just like the original captures a piece of time of history, even though it's not exactly what you wanted.
Right.
So for example, imagine like an old Zorro movie or an old Knight movie, or like, what's that first movie, The Three Musketeers, with, I forgot the people's names, but they were like the very first movie of The Three Musketeers. It was in color. I think it was in color.
Okay.
But I mean, let's say now what we can do is we can go back and really make the sword scenes something awesome. I mean, we can make them fight with the swords. And you'd be like, no, because that wasn't the movie that I fell in love with.
Okay, yes, there would be one edit. Yes, or change that I would make. The lightsaber scene between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader.
Yes.
It was a bit hokey.
It was.
It was a bit hokey.
And do you know why why it was hokey? Do you know why? Or
well,
go ahead. You can say
was it Alec Guinness's? Was it his health, his age?
Mm-hmm. No, I don't think. I don't know. That even if they were able to do what we could do now, that he would have been up to that par, but it wouldn't have been as bad. What was going on was, the lightsabers were made out of the handle of a flash on a camera.
Okay.
And they put a rod in there that they would spin with electric tape on it, and then shine the electric tape and add the color in later. That's why it's kind of white with the color around it.
Yeah.
So, and you can see actually when Luke does the thing like this, that there's actually a wire in there that's turning the blade to make it glow.
Oh,
because they would put reflective tape. I think I said electrical tape. Reflective tape on it and shine a light on it. And so it would turn. Well, these things just kept busting. So you'd hit something, it would bust. So they had to be very kind of deliberate and do camera shots and stuff with it.
I did not know that.
Yeah. But let me just say that, and I mentioned this.
There's somebody
before.
who remade it. Did you see that remake?
Did you see it?
That was excellent.
It was really good. It wasn't hokey.
No.
It fit right in.
It fit right in.
It would not.
They CGI'd it.
Yeah, I mean, it was done really, really well. But the original is the original.
That's true.
What I mean, the original. I mean, if somebody took a gunslinger movie and the Old West and then later they said, oh, we can do some more stuff with this. So then the next time you see it, he goes and flips it and stuff like that. You'd be like, that's not the movie I fell in love with. That's not the movie I liked. You know what I mean?
That's a point. It's a point. Other than that, the movie was very good.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question too. So I believe that, and you can expand on this too. I believe that out of the three movies, Star Wars: A New Hope is your favorite out of the original three.
Actually, probably the original, but the Hoth ice planet scene. That made, in my opinion, the second movie.
Oh, really?
Opening it up. The whole Yoda with Luke thing kind of bored me.
It bored you, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very slow. I think I was wanting more action, and you didn't have that as you did with A New Hope.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of interesting because...
But it did open well. I did like the opening Hoth scenes.
Yeah.
That they had fled to an ice planet and were...
trying to regroup.
Yeah, hiding out from the Empire and everything. That was pretty good.
Yeah. There is another edit of Star Wars that very few people have seen. It was the original edit. And there are clips of it as well, but basically the movie that we saw in the theater and everybody else saw was a better version due to a new edit. And you can kind of see the old edit, like with Biggs. Like sometimes you can see Biggs, and there's some stills of Luke Skywalker by a big tower with a what's that kind of hat called? That sun hat, you know?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you've seen those.
Sombrero.
Yeah. It's not a sombrero, though. It's more like an army one. More like, it's round.
Oh yeah. Oh, a boonie hat.
Yeah, a boonie hat.
Yeah.
There's some scenes with that. There's some pictures with that. There's a scene with Biggs. There's a scene where he sees the fight in the sky that's going on before the droids drop. Luke Skywalker sees that. That all got cut. There's also another scene where C-3PO and him are flying along in the not in the Millennium Falcon, but in the land speeder, and he's telling, and the land speeder's not working, he's fixing it, but it was a really boring movie, and it wasn't going to go anywhere, and they recut it to make it more exciting, to make it more fast-paced. And the cut was actually what George Lucas wanted. The person who cut it originally was not listening to George Lucas. So, but I bring that up because a lot of deleted scenes in Empire Strikes Back were actually on Dagobah. there were a lot more like him using his lightsaber and stuff like that you can find on YouTube actually.
Oh, so they cut a lot of
They
that
cut
out.
a lot of the Dagobah scenes.
Well, that's
out.
good because that was the boring part.
Well, I just wondered if it would be a more, I was trying to say if it would
I
be
get it
more,
as far as the flow of the movie
Yeah.
and having Luke being trained by Yoda. I
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah.
But that part of it just kind of went, eh. But the Hoth with the walkers and the Hoth scene, that was cool.
That was really cool. And let's get into Empire Strikes Back while we're 23 minutes into this thing so
Okay.
far. So Empire Strikes Back, my favorite, probably one of my favorite movies of all time, but certainly my favorite out of the Star Wars. I know you're probably a New Hope, but I'm more of an Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, I can see it.
And I will tell you right now, too, I've said this before, my favorite Jedi is Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt a little ripped off, and always has been Obi-Wan Kenobi. It was kind of weird because, now you'd think, well, Luke's should be my favorite Jedi even back then, but even not back then, like even back then in my imagination, I wondered what Obi-Wan Kenobi did to be one of the only surviving Jedis to survive the Clone Wars.
Got it.
So, I would always pretend to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. Sometimes I pretend to be Luke. I like Luke too, but I was a big Obi-Wan Kenobi. If I had my way, if I had my druthers, and I'm not talking about rewriting it now and then reimposing it, but if I was in the room somehow in an alternate universe with George Lucas.
Spaceballs.
No, I would not have had Obi-Wan Kenobi die in that first film. I know why that had happened.
Right.
The master's got to die and the students got to go on.
Yeah.
But I just think that him dying there was a little premature. I would have had some way he escaped. Either he got captured and escaped later and joined him on Hoth, or he escaped at that time or something like that. I'm not sure. Maybe you could do some magic or something like that on Darth Vader or something, and then escape. But I do think, and you can tell me this in the comments below if you like this. If you think this is a good idea.
He escapes the Hoth.
He escapes the Hoth.
And then he holds Vader back when he's on Hoth.
Yes, and he dies on Hoth.
Yeah.
And then therefore, Luke is forced to go to another teacher at that point. Forced to go to Yoda. But yeah, so he's on Hoth. He's holding back and basically gives his life to make it so that they can escape. Kind of like in the first one, except for more grander.
Yeah.
And then he escapes to Hoth.
I think yeah. I think that's.
I don't know.
I could go with that.
I could go, and it would just
Yeah.
extend his life a little bit. Extend his influence on Luke a little bit.
Yeah.
Because quite honestly, his influence on Luke. One of the critiques that I have of Star Wars
Was the acting?
Well, yeah. Okay, that's not the one I'm going to talk about now. One of the critiques I have about Star Wars is that Luke acts like he's always acted like, or he hints to the fact that Obi-Wan was some great mentor in his life and it was this huge loss. Right. Like he barely knew Obi-Wan. He only knew him as kind of this little hermit here and there. That was alluded to on Tatooine.
And then they escaped going to Alderaan.
And then they went to Alderaan.
But
That's
Alderaan
it.
was gone. Then
so
they get captured.
The car ride to Alderaan, and then what happened before that on Tatooine was all he knew of him. But he acts like this is some best friend of his that got killed.
That's a good point.
I
never thought about that. Did you think about that?
Well, you let me know in the comments section below.
No, that you're right, because all he had was the car ride. I like that. The car ride to Alderaan ended up on the Death Star, and then they split off.
Yeah, and that's it. And then
they didn't fight together or anything.
Yeah, they don't have any camaraderie.
Yeah,
and then he's always like, I don't know. He hints to the fact that he owes some great debt to Obi-Wan or something like that. It just seems a little artificial. His attachment to Obi-Wan seems a little bit artificial. It'd be sad.
Deep thinker over here.
I don't know. I had too much time to think, really.
Yeah, no, that's a good point though. it didn't occur to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes sense, man.
One of the scenes, and I have to admit that I did like the Dagobah scene a little bit, but one of the things that kind of upset me and was in the cut scenes was there's no lightsaber training. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no monsters either.
Oh, no monsters. Yeah.
There could have been a monster.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, there was no monster.
You think that if they
have monsters.
If they were on Dagobah,
they threw the monster in the asteroid belt.
Yes.
Yeah, when the ship had to escape. But no monster on Dagobah. One little vision thing, mystical thing with Darth Vader.
Yeah.
In the tunnel or the cave, but no monster.
And they could have even souped that up a little bit more.
Yeah,
quite honestly, they could have souped that up a little bit more, but they didn't. But let me just say that might have been a lull, and I might partly agree with you on that. But the Hoth scene, outstanding.
Yes,
he gets hit in the head with by the
ice monster.
Ice monster. Yeah. I forgot the name of it. I just watched the thing on it, but there is a name of it, and there was actually more scenes with him.
Wasn't it a wombat? Not a wombat. It was it started with W, I thought.
I think so. I think you might be.
So, anybody knows out there? Comments below.
Yes, comments below. And there was actually more scenes with the wombat that got cut too.
Wombat.
Yeah.
A little Australian fuzzy animal.
Yeah. Where it actually they were actually having problems with them on the Hoth base.
You know what? It seems to me that I saw was that a cut? Was that one of those cut scenes? And it breaks through. Yeah. I watched that on YouTube. Yeah,
and it even gets some stormtroopers and stuff, or ice troopers.
Yeah.
It was very interesting. And then there were some scenes that were cut that were filmed, but they just couldn't do it where the monster was dragging Luke and stuff, but it kept falling over.
Oh.
They couldn't get it to stay up in the snow and all that stuff, and then the guy in the stilts and stuff and pulled, so they just kept falling over. But there was going to be more scenes with that monster, whatever that monster's name is.
What's
I don't know.
That thing called?
I don't know.
We're gonna have to
Google it.
Yeah.
I didn't bring my laptop here to
Google
to do that. Well, that's an edit I would make in there, and I would definitely put more lightsaber training in the Empire Strikes Back for sure. And I think that having a monster there was excellent.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it doesn't have to be like a huge monster.
Okay,
but
something
for him to defeat.
Yeah, something for him.
Real. That was a real threat.
Yeah.
To defeat.
So, but while he's on Hoth, or not on Hoth, on Dagobah, the other team is flying through asteroids, as you said.
Yes.
What did you think of those scenes?
They were fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had to ditch the TIE fighters.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and then you had the Slave One and Boba Fett, the introduction of Boba Fett.
Yes, that was cool. That was cool.
Yeah. Shirt here.
So Boba Fett, that was one of my favorite characters. I used to have the full-sized one.
Yeah. That one right there.
Yeah, but he had clothes on, armor.
He did. You had the full-size one, huh? Did you have the original, the 1980 version of it?
I don't know, but it had a cape on it, and I don't know if there was any rocket that
When
detached.
did you get it? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't remember, man. I'm old enough now that's just a distant memory.
Was it because I know they started reproducing the taller action figures again in the 90s, and I'm not sure
No, it wouldn't have been the 90s, man. Because
okay.
I was well into my adulthood by then. So it was one of the originals.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. What happened to it? I don't know.
Yeah, you also said you had a poster too of Boba Fett.
Probably stuff that was worth money, but
yeah.
But
well, okay, so
yeah, that was cool. Boba Fett was cool.
Yeah, Boba Fett was awesome.
He was cool.
He really took everybody by surprise.
He was the cool bad guy.
Nobody
was the cool
thought
bad guy.
that nobody thought a couple scenes with him is gonna start a storm, but it's really people's imaginations and stuff looking at him thinking, whoa, that's crazy, that guy looks cool.
I had a friend who had now I don't remember if I got it, not to mention the toys, but the small action figure, the one that shot the rocket.
He had that, the one that shot the rocket. Well, that's, I think As I recall,
Isn't there only a few of those got out?
Yeah, that is the most valuable toy out there. Like that's the most valuable toy that's ever been made. It's somewhere around like the $100,000 mark or something like that for that toy.
I hope that wasn't me that had it.
I never had it. Well, I did have Boba Fett later. But
$100,000. Man,
yeah, I can't remember. It was
I'd sell that in a heartbeat.
20,000 grand or $100,000 or something like that. It was huge.
If it was 5,000, it'd be. Awesome.
Oh, it's way more than 5. It's like it's either the most valuable toy that is out there from that period altogether, or it's among them. Wow. I know that for sure because I watch a lot of toy stuff, especially stuff on Star Wars for this channel. Yeah, there's a few others that are pretty valuable too. But okay, let me ask you this question: the romantic scene between Han and Leia, do you think that was a good thing?
Well, it set it up for the other movies.
Yeah, okay. All right.
You know, he made it fit.
Yeah. We'll get to the resolve in Return of the Jedi. But yeah, I think I think that they had liked each other from the beginning. And it was just...
Opposites attract.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I'm not going to say redeeming quality because it's not, for me, there's no redemption in that because there's no downfall in Empire for me. But the apex of it is certainly the Cloud City scene.
Oh, well, that elevated the Jedi fight scene.
Yeah.
Exponentially.
Yeah.
Exponentially.
And I think that out of the original 3, that's my favorite Jedi fight scene. That's my all-time favorite.
I could see that.
Even better than Return of the Jedi, which hopefully I'll remember to make comments on that when I'm there. But that was the best one.
That was good.
Very gritty. You can tell. I mean, it's the way Luke looks with this, and how Vader's really just toying with him until that end scene on that.
Right.
On that, I don't know what the hell to call it there. The
catwalk.
Yeah, the catwalk there, where Vader kind of gets fed up and just comes out and starts whooping up on him, and then of course cuts his arm, makes the big reveal. Luke, no, he doesn't say Luke. He says, "No, I am your father." That's one of those big myths out there that it says, "Luke, I am your father." He doesn't say that.
Oh, really?
He says, "Yeah." He says, "No, I am your father." He says, "No, he told me you killed him." And he said, "No, I am your father." And even in
kind of like Smokey Bear. Everybody says Smokey the Bear. It's not. It's Smokey Bear.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
same thing. Another one of those.
By the way, that is, from what I recall, that is where the term spoiler comes from. It comes from the term spoiler, like when you say spoilers or no spoilers or whatever, meaning no reveals. It comes from Empire Strikes Back. When somebody was walking out of the theater and people were walking in, somebody was making mention of the fact that that was his father. And then the term spoiler came from that event.
Well, I bet you that ticked a lot of people off. Oh, by the way, Darth Vader's Luke's father.
I don't think he said it on purpose. I think he was just talking to somebody as they were coming out. Can you believe Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father? I do believe that. And then suddenly, spoiler is a term.
Really? That came out of
I remember hearing that. I do remember hearing that.
Or Empire.
Yeah, Empire. All right, now.
So we hit Return now, or
let's take a turn. Well, unless there's something else you want to say about Empire.
No. It had a good flow from the first, from A New Hope. It had a good flow to it.
Yes, yeah. Well, things are going to take a turn for the worse because I guess we're going to talk about mine and yours least favorite of the 3.
Oh, of those 3.
Yeah, of the original 3, not the worst.
The worst one was Phantom Menace.
No, I don't think so.
That's okay.
I think the worst one is
the second one?
Third one. I think the third one's the worst one.
You think so?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like the third one.
Searching my memory banks.
Revenge of the Sith.
I did not like Phantom Menace, though.
I know a lot of people didn't like it. Well, me, yeah.
It was disappointing to me. I saw that with you guys, in fact.
Did you?
Yes. You guys invited me, got me a ticket.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, me,
I remember.
you, Joy. Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole gang.
And I think, I think there were actually a couple other people who were with us. Yeah, Phantom Menace. We saw Phantom Menace. We also saw the other two together too.
The last one. Didn't we see the last one?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't remember.
But we did see those. You did see those with us. What am I thinking here? Okay. Well, let me just say.
Wasn't it supposed to be Revenge of the Jedi?
Yes.
And then it became Return of the Jedi.
Yes. And why? Jedis don't take revenge.
Oh, that's right.
So it actually flip-flopped. People think it was originally supposed to be called Revenge of the Jedi. It wasn't. Originally, it was Return of the Jedi. He changed it to the Revenge, and then he changed it back to Return of the Jedi.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of people don't know that. But I think the original Return of the Jedi was like a short-lived idea. And he said, he wanted it to sound more macho, so he said Revenge of the Jedi. So then Revenge of the Jedi.
And then he thought about it, and
all the posters were made, and all the card stocks for for action figures.
So that's worth some money.
Yeah. Well, the posters at the time, and this is what I heard. I remember hearing this. I don't know if it's true, but I remember hearing this at the time because they had posters Revenge of the Jedi. He was buying them back at the time for $1,000.
Nice.
A piece. So that's $1,000 1983 money. So you can imagine.
And one of those for a collector, probably if you had an original Revenge of the Jedi, I bet you they'd pay a pretty penny.
Yeah.
If it was in good shape.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this before.
Not that I'm all into money. I don't want people thinking that.
You are so materialistic. Yeah, living for this world.
I know it.
Materialism. I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I don't know if I've mentioned it before. I'm going to mention it again because I talked to the comic book store guy and we've talked about Star Wars before. I talked about Star Wars. So if I'm repeating myself, please forgive me. But after Return of the Jedi came out, there were packages of Empire Strikes Back stuff still on the shelves, and for my birthday, somebody got me 2 die-cast sets of the Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
Remember those little smaller die-cast sets?
I had some of those. I had the Bespin, the twin car fighter.
Oh yeah.
I had one of those. I had a Y-wing. I think I had an X-wing. Yeah. Maybe I had the TIE fighter. But yeah, I remember they're about that big.
Yeah.
They're small.
I had 2 cast sets. In both of those was a certificate about this big that said the next movie, wait for the next movie, Revenge of the Jedi.
Oh.
And I knew where they were for the longest time.
And now they're gone.
And I actually lost them back in the 80s. I don't know if somebody actually stole them because I knew where they were. They were in a drawer. And even though the drawer kind of was a little messy and had been through, I wonder if somebody stole them. Because even at that time,
hanging out with the wrong friends.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. It could have been my friends, but it also could have been, at the time, my stepfather. Oh. Because he was not on the up and up.
Shady.
Yeah, he was a shady dude. So, anyway, he might have thought, I deserve this. And he didn't need it. He didn't treat him well anyway. Yeah, I could imagine. I don't know for sure, but I do know this.
That's cool.
I do remember where they were. And I remember that they weren't there at one time. I'd go back and look at them from time to time.
What a shame.
And they were gone. And like I said, at the time, the posters were going for $1,000. And so this, who knows what it would have gone for. I mean, it would have gone, but I remember distinctly it said something about the next movie, watch for the next movie, Revenge of the Jedi. And they were in both of those. I was just like, whoa. Yeah. So, listen.
Well, speaking of...
No, if you know how much those are, leave that in the comment section below. I'm very interested in knowing how much those are worth because I've tried to look for them online or not. He
wants to have a good cry.
Yeah, I want to bawl. Speaking of, go ahead.
I don't like what they did. Let's just jump to it because the video's getting long. I don't like the way Boba Fett died.
Yeah. All right.
I thought that was cheesy.
Yeah.
He's like flailing through the air. They made him too cool in the beginning to then just throw him out like that.
Just kind of throw him out.
I thought that was...
Well, he doesn't die. You know that, right? In the books, they save him. The fans save him.
Did they?
Yeah, he detonates through the wall. He detonates through it.
Through the Sarlacc?
Yeah, through the Sarlacc.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the movie he did.
Yeah, in the movie we didn't know. I mean, basically in the movie he died, but then later they came back and rescued him.
I thought that was cheap. And then the, especially with the remake, with that ridiculous character Soodles, that singer gal.
Oh,
and
yeah. Oh,
that with the long trumpet mouth or whatever it was. And that when they redid that edited or the redo version, whatever it's called, that was stupid.
That was ridiculous. And
the drummer they threw in there that looked like something out of the Muppets, like an animal from the Muppets.
Animal from the Muppets.
That was stupid.
That was really bad.
Yeah, I was very disappointed when I saw the remake one.
I don't even know what he was thinking. I mean, you know,
it was. He
must surround himself. I mean, now they basically kicked him off of it. They've kicked him totally out of it.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Didn't get any better though. Sorry. Anyway.
But Princess Leia was looking good though.
Oh yeah. We all like that Princess Leia outfit. I did think, other than the Boba Fett scene, that was the only good scene in the show. That's different for me because I was 10 when that came out, 9 or 10, and that would have made you 15, somewhere around there.
No, it wasn't
14,
that old.
15?
No, it was 88. When did that come out?
84. 83.
83. So I remember I was about 13 when I saw it. So
I must have been 8 or 9.
Yeah. So I was getting at the point where I didn't get any of the toys from it because I was growing up.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I wasn't playing with toys anymore.
Right.
So, but I did go to see it because I'd seen the other two. And it's like, you got to see the last Star Wars.
Oh, for sure. It's still iconic.
Yeah. So it didn't have the effect because of my age.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, for me...
The first two did.
The first scene was the best, despite the fact that they killed off Boba Fett in a ridiculous way. That kind of sucked. But...
What was the opening scene?
The barge, where they...
Oh, yeah.
The barge.
Oh, yeah, going to Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, after that, it was downhill for me. I didn't hate it as much then because like I said, I was 8, so teddy bears were too bad for me, or 8 to 10. But as I got older, I can't even
the
watch
Ewoks, that was stupido.
Yeah, it was really, really bad.
That was no good. No bueno.
And then the resolve, finally in the end, wasn't that...
It's a trap!
It wasn't that exciting for me either. Again...
They blew up the Death Star
They blew up the Death Star again. Then they blew up another ship in Episode 1. Then they blew up another type of Death Star in The Force Awakens.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's just like, come on, man.
Yeah, it just started repeating itself.
Do we have a story here or do we not have a story? The resolve with Darth Vader and Luke, I liked that, but what I didn't like was them trying to turn... Like, I don't get it. Even to this day, even with all the movies and everything, I don't understand the appeal of turning to the dark side. I mean, I get it. I actually kind of got it with Anakin because he tricked him because he thought he could save Padme. And so he thought, like, well, he doesn't want him to die. But even that, he turns way too quickly, does way too much violent stuff way too quickly. What are they doing? Like, turn to the dark side, take your sword and strike me down. It's like, okay. Like, how is that turning to the dark side? Let's kill a bad guy. I mean, doesn't make any sense to me. To kill a bad guy means turning to the dark side.
A lot of it's Eastern mysticism.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a religion to Star Wars.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. It's Eastern mysticism.
It was definitely borrowed from Eastern mysticism. So, it's kind of like, or even maybe a little Buddhism in there, where they don't believe in being violent or stuff like that.
Or being attached to things. It's still Buddhism's an Eastern religion. The other thing, though, while I'm on it, So we're gonna.
Are we doing rants now?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Star Wars if I had it my way.
Okay.
I think
It's like Burger King.
Given the course of what we've talked about so far, I think that's kind of been the flavor of this conversation. Sure. If I had it my way, are the problems with it. Now, you tell me if you noticed this or not.
Okay.
In Empire Strikes Back, he's going to go fight Vader. They tell him, no, you're not a Jedi yet.
Right.
He comes back to Yoda after they free Han in Return of the Jedi. And he says, so I am a Jedi. And he says, you're not a Jedi until you defeat Vader. What is with that? Really? I mean, well, which is it? Do you defeat the Vader and become a Jedi? Or do you not defeat the Vader?
It was too soon.
I get it. I get it.
It was too soon.
Maybe that's a little bit of a silly rant, but it did bother me.
Yeah, for me, the movie just... I don't know, the Rancor pit monster was kind of cool.
Well, like I said, I think
Did you see him chomp on that Gamorra guard, man? And that looked weird, man. He just kind of like that and just down the hatch he went.
Yeah.
I guess that's bacon.
Yeah.
Pork. Having some pork.
He certainly wasn't Jewish, right? Yeah. Zara didn't keep the kosher law.
Oh, that was pretty good. That was okay,
Well, like I said, the job part was great. The job part I thought that was good, except for, I do agree with them killing off Boba Fett. That was a stupid way to kill him off. Even though he didn't really die according to the books. But we didn't know that.
Right.
And then Luke has a green lightsaber. Mm-hmm. And do you know why they have a green lightsaber? Do you remember why? Okay.
I do not.
But
you're going to tell us.
I am. I'm glad. I'm glad you're here for me to springboard onto these.
That's all right, man.
Onto these.
Why did he have a green lightsaber?
He had a green lightsaber because it was going to be blue.
Okay.
And it was actually modeled after Obi-Wan Kenobi's. If you notice, his green lightsaber and Obi-Wan Kenobi's blue lightsaber are identical. They're identical. There's a scene at the very beginning where when he lands on Tatooine and he goes into Obi-Wan's hut and he makes a new lightsaber out of Obi-Wan's design and parts that he finds there. And it was blue. However, it didn't show up well enough on the backdrop to the blue sky when he's fighting those people, on the skiffs. And because it's blue with the blue background, he says it's just not showing up well. It doesn't look as good. Let's just change it to a green lightsaber, and the green lightsaber is introduced. But it was meant to be a blue lightsaber.
And the action figure had a yellow.
No, the action figure. So the action figure of Luke Skywalker, Bespin, Luke Skywalker. The original Luke Skywalker with that extended thing that went down.
Wasn't that yellow?
It was yellow.
Yeah.
We never got a blue one. The action figure in Return of the Jedi was green.
Right. But that's what I'm saying though. The action figure originally it was yellow. I remember that.
The Star Wars and the Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
The Return of the Jedi was green.
He never had yellow.
No, he never had yellow.
I never saw yellow.
No.
So what was with that?
Yeah,
come on, Kenner.
Ranting. I've ranted about this before. We're on the edge of hearing me go off. I'm so mad about that. They went straight from yellow to green. Yeah. No blue.
No blue.
No blue lightsabers. Not even the bigger toy ones. They had an inflatable one that was yellow. And then they had
ridiculous.
Yeah,
I never saw a yellow lightsaber.
Oh my gosh. No, they didn't have a yellow lightsaber. They didn't have one. It was bad. Well, what? Okay, so
Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
Okay, so we've told about what we didn't like about it,
and what we liked a little bit.
Yeah, well, I like the Jabba the Hutt Tatooine scene. That was okay, except for Boba Fett. The rest of the movie was just very kiddish. They get down to the Endor?
Endor, right.
And then you throw in the Jawas. Now, okay.
The Ewoks.
They did have the Scout Walkers.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
That was cool.
Okay,
we only saw a little glimpse of them in Empire on Hoth.
Yep.
They had a couple in the background moving across, so that kind of brought them to the forefront. That was cool.
I didn't mind the fact that it was indigenous native people that took that army of the empire down there.
Yeah.
That was okay with me.
It's just what
they were teddy bears.
Yeah, they were teddy bears.
And teddy bears aren't going to do that.
With Sasquatch faces,
Yes.
like Bigfoots.
Right. They
But
should have
little
had
tiny.
they should have just had native, like almost like Native Americans or something. They were originally going to have Wookiees is what they were going to have. They were going to have Wookiees.
No, Wookiees would have been
Yeah,
some hiney,
but
for sure.
Yeah, but the Wookiees were technologically advanced, and so they decided to go Wookiee. No, just change it Ewok, and make them small instead of large. Worst decision in that first three. To me, that was the worst decision. I know.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And then the last battle scene, it's a trap.
yeah.
General Ekbar, or whatever his name was, the fish.
Yeah.
He was a fish. He was a fish.
That was all right.
That just didn't do much for me. And you blew up another Death Star. Okay, fine.
Yeah, it went downhill super quick.
Yeah, and by that time, again, I was 13, maybe 14. So it was kind of like,
And you didn't have any of the toys.
No.
From Return of the Jedi. That's shortly after Return of the Jedi is when they when Kenner stopped making them, and it might even been when Kenner went under. However, I wish I would have gotten them at my store, at the store that I used to go to kind of where I regularly bought. It was a locally owned store where I regularly bought Star Wars toys and toys. It was just like 3 blocks from my house or something like that. It was just right around the corner. Lots of memories on that store. But they had a slew of B-grade Star Wars toys there that I wish I would have picked up. I mean, just a slew. They didn't have any of the Luke Skywalkers, any of the Darth Vaders, but they had a slew of like all the people who were in Jabba's palace, a slew of stormtroopers, a slew of all this stuff, and they sat on the shelf there for a long, long time, and I didn't buy any of them. I wish I would have.
I think the toy craze began to wane by the time Jedi came out.
Certainly for people your age, because you were a little bit older. For my age, it wasn't. We still had things like He-Man and things were coming out. You know.
Did you have IG-88?
No, I didn't. You did have IG-88?
I had Bosk.
Oh, you did? I think I had Bosk.
I had Bosk, IG-88.
I can't remember.
How about Snaggletooth? Didn't have Snaggletooth?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Those are some of the originals. And then, so I did get some of the Empire toys.
Yeah.
I did get a few.
That little collection of bounty hunters.
Well, it didn't come, when I bought them, they were singly. They were single.
Oh, no, I know. They were single, but that
collection of bounty hunters when on the Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
They're all lined up there. Yeah, so Boba Fett and then once you got Boba Fett, you wanted the other ones.
Yeah.
You wanted IG-88, which, by the way, I will say this, The Mandalorian really did introduce IG-88 back in a cool way.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We
love The Mandalorian. We have no complaints.
Other than what they did to Gina Carrera.
Yeah.
Is that her name? Gina Carrera?
Yeah.
That was not
cool.
But
the show itself, I thought, I don't have any problems with the show. Love the show.
Yep.
I think that's one of the redeeming qualities.
And they're supposed to bring back one on Obi-Wan.
Yes. And you guess who has 2 thumbs and is looking forward to that? This guy. I'm a huge, and that's actually, so the redeeming quality for me in the 1, 2, and 3 is the Obi-Wan story. I do like that, and one of my favorite scenes in the 1, 2, and 3 is the scene between Obi-Wan and Jango Fett. I thought that was one of the best battles that's been on screen.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good one. But we're not here to talk about that. We've given an hour to this.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Hope you guys, we were able to keep you entertained long enough. Yeah, but it's been, we did go about an hour, didn't we?
Yeah.
But it was fun. Yeah, it was fun reminiscing about that kind of stuff. And days gone by.
Yeah.
That was, yes, it was an influence in my life. I know it was for many, many of us.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this episode of Retro Serial. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell notification if you want to know when these things come out. Also, if you're listening to this on podcast, please leave a review and a rating. That really means the world to me. Share both of these if you're listening to podcast or you're watching it on YouTube. Share it on your favorite social media. Just so you know, if you are listening to this on podcast, all of these are available on YouTube as well. And I do have extra stuff on YouTube that just doesn't transfer over to audio only. So, shorter clips where I show different types of toys and stuff like that, that wouldn't really transfer to only audio. So if you're interested in what we're doing here on audio, you're going to be interested in what we're doing video, audio, go over and check it out. If you want to part with some of your hard-earned cash, you are more than welcome to do that. Follow the links below to the Buy Me a Coffee page and the Patreon page. And like I said, with the Patreon page, I now have a tip jar. If you like what I'm doing, you want to throw me a little cash my way to watch all my wildest YouTube dreams come true, please do so. The tip jar there is now available, and I'm going to be adding more tiers with special content for people who donate in that way. But the tip jar is just there just to say thank you to what we're doing here. So thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for giving me that thumbs up. Thank you for sharing it, and thank you for everything. And let us know in the comment section below if there's any other thing on Star Wars you want us to cover.
Sounds good to me. So long.